George, good to see you again. How have you been?
It's great to see you, and I just want to mention here, my wife inspired me to talk about this topic, and it's basically about her.
Your wife is
My
making
wife.
you talk about your wife.
No, she inspired me.
Oh, she inspired you. Anyway, Dr.
Okay.
George Petruska, Bob Rosenberg, and you're going to learn about George's lovely wife.
And some healthy tips to help you maintain a healthy heart. And
That's important.
my wife, to give you a brief history, had COVID the week of Christmas, and she recovered, and she has antibodies. She had the antibody test,
Right?
and she donates plasma to Miller Blood Bank, and they had told her that her blood became thick, and her blood pressure was 172 over 101,
And
and
she had normal, healthy blood pressure before that?
prior to that she was 110 over 70,
Huh.
and she goes to the gym 3 times a week, I might add, and she's really all about the natural way to health and eating a good diet and taking supplements, and she does that whole holistic approach, and she's even on my case about that, and she's the perfect chiropractic wife. And that being said, she had told me about her blood pressure, and I initially thought that maybe she got a little lax with her diet because she was going to the gym, or a little
Right.
complacent about taking supplements. But the truth of the matter is, it was a residual effect of having, COVID.
So COVID turned on whatever it did and the blood thickened up?
Yeah, what I think happened is that, and I'm not exactly sure, but as a doctor, my thought, based on my knowledge, education, training, is that her clotting factors were somehow affected, and that caused her blood to thicken, and her blood pressure to go up, and what she had was stage 2 hypertension.
So what did you do for that?
So I took her blood pressure to make sure, and I took her blood oxygen. Her pulse was like 101, and her blood oxygen was like in the below 95. So there was some concern there.
Yeah.
And what I did, we had a talk about her taking supplements, and I tweaked her supplements, and I helped tweak her diet, which she's really good with to begin with. And we added some supplements, and some of the supplements we added I'd like to talk about are supplements that are known to help thin your blood. So, like, one of those supplements we added to that was C. And there are 2 types of C. There's the natural and synthetic.
Right.
So we added one of each, and that gives you a complete C, and you take that with D3. We have her take an L-arginine and L-citrine, which are also known to lower your blood.
Amino acids, yeah.
Fish oil and flaxseed oil, which are also known to lower your
So
blood.
omega-3s.
Okay. And the turmeric with curcumin and black pepper.
Anti-inflammatory, botanical.
Because I think part of that is an inflammatory process. And the other things we all added hawthorn, which is an herb.
Right.
Okay. And the last thing we added was NO2.
Okay.
Which goes with, and triamino acid. And the NO2 works well with the L-arginine and L-citrine and the triamino acid.
Synergistic, yeah.
They're very synergistic. And the bottom line is, after a week, it had gone down to like 147 over like 89.
That's a pretty quick improvement.
And after 3 weeks, she was down to 137 over like 77. And then eventually she got to 125 over 75. But the bottom line is, her oxygen was 100 and her pulse was 61.
So back to pretty much
Back to where she
normal.
was. She's textbook normal. She was originally a little bit lower, but it is my belief, based on my knowledge and training and my 40 years experience in healthcare, that she will get back to the 110 over 70. Now, the other thing I'd like to talk about that is she really focused in our cardiovascular training, and she took what I would term a 3-step approach. So what she started with is nicknamed HIT, high intensity interval training.
Mm-hmm.
And she had done that 3 times a week for 3 weeks. And then she went to what's called aerobic training, which is 20 minutes 3 times a week for 3 weeks.
Right.
Then she went to fat burn, which is 30 minutes 3 times a week for 3 weeks. And then she finally went to optimizing, which is 45 minutes, each time 3 times a week.
Right.
And by improving her, cardio and improving her supplements, herbs, botanicals, and
already
vitamins.
consuming an anti-inflammatory diet.
And I want to
right?
add, she's following David Seaman's D-Flame diet, and she's good about eliminating sugar and gluten. In fact, she's always on my case about that, and I'm pretty good about that, but she's always reminding me, and the combination of that, she's done a lot better. So, that being said, what's important, if you do have blood pressure problems and you do have higher blood pressures, and I mean, the first thing you got to do before you can go to the gym is make sure you go to your provider and that you have medical clearance.
Yeah, you need to.
Secondly, I mean, if you need to take some type of medication for that, once again, make sure you're able to work out, and if you need to take that medication. And then if you start weaning off of that with the supplements, make sure you do that in conjunction with your medical provider, so you're doing it the right way. And a lot of times, you can naturally take things that can deal with that. Sometimes some things are beyond the limitations of matter and you need to take that medication, but maybe you could take a minimal amount of it.
And you should always be more conservative initially anyway, right?
Correct. So, the bottom line here is, you have stage 2 hypertension, stage 1 hypertension. You need to have a combination. You got to have that whole holistic approach. You got to exercise. Cardio exercise is very important. Cardiovascular exercise. You got to do the D-Flame diet. Is one of the best diets.
And again, the heart is a muscle.
The heart is a muscle. You got to exercise that muscle.
But you don't want to overwork it.
You don't want to overwork it.
So there's a system to
and
that.
You want to eat your blood type. She's type O, and you can look it up on the internet, and there's a specific recommendations for type O blood type. She's O positive. And you also want to make your diet alkaline based, and she does this way better than me, but I do this also, where she'll drink water with lemon in it, water with lime in it, a lot of lime,
and again,
cucumber water.
You eliminate the white flours.
Eliminate the gluten.
You drop that stuff down, you eliminate a lot of the acid right there. And again, just balance vegetation, fruits and vegetables. A little bit of protein as well. You need protein, and healthy choice of fats.
Yeah, and I think too, in the process, there are a lot of interesting, long-term effects, which I imagine research will bring out over the next 7 years. But, Miller Blood Bank, because she donates plasma, had caught that and warned her of it,
That's a good thing.
And they made some recommendations to her, which we discussed, and I followed up, and she's really good. She takes her blood pressure every day. She's been trending downward, and it's all been working.
I'll tell you what, we just got rid of Halloween, and again, I don't know if you're holding on to all of that sugar or not, or if you donated it to somebody else. Hopefully you did. But Thanksgiving's coming up, and then the holidays are coming up.
Christmas and New Year's.
Maybe we need to have a conversation on our next Facebook about surviving and thriving through the holidays.
Surviving the holidays is what we're going to talk about next time, and we will be back. And I want everybody out there to have a great day, and I hope that this video was very helpful to anybody viewing it.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you once again, Bob.
And let me cut this loose, and you guys have a wonderful day.